This will be for the con exercise, multiply binomials by polynomials. All right, so we're basically multiplying these two binomials right here. In other words, expand, and your answer should be a polynomial in standard form. So we're basically doing the same thing here. All right, I suggest you do the intro exercise first, but in that exercise, we learned about FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So you can use FOIL since we have two binomials, or you can distribute. All right, I'm going to use FOIL. So first, it's going to be negative 8a squared times 3a squared. Okay, so that's negative 8a squared times 3a squared. And then for outer, it's going to be negative 8a squared times negative 5. For inner, it's going to be negative 1 times 3a squared. And then for last, I'm going to do negative 1 times negative 5. All right, some of you could have done this in one step. I just wrote everything out. Okay, so here when you multiply variables with coefficients, you separate the coefficients and the variables. So here I'm going to do negative 8 times 3, that's negative 24. And a squared times a squared, you just add the exponent. So it's 2 plus 2, so that's a to the 4th. All right, next up I have negative 8 times negative 5, so that's positive 40. And a squared, and there's no a here, so I just keep a squared. Next up, negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3. And there's no a here, and there's an a squared there. And finally, negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Okay, combining like terms, there's no other a to the 4th. So I'll keep that. 40a squared minus 3a squared should give us positive 37a squared. Okay, I'm able to combine these because they both have a squared. And 40 minus 3 is just 37. And finally, on the end, the constant term plus 5. Nothing to combine that with. So that's it. All right, negative 24, a to the 4th. And then hit the right arrow key. And then we have positive 37a squared. So this is the exponent button, squared. Hit the right arrow key and then plus 5. Okay, so negative 24a squared. Let me see. No, that's correct. All right, here's a good one. We're multiplying these two terms. We have a binomial and a trinomial. Okay, 3 terms is a trinomial. So we cannot use FOIL. Okay, FOIL is for binomials only, but this is a trinomial with 3 terms. So we have to just distribute. Okay, so we'll start with c squared. We're going to do c squared times 2c squared. All right, so c squared times 2c squared. And then we're going to do c squared times 3c. And then we're going to do c squared times negative 1. So c squared times negative 1. Okay, we distributed the c squared to everything here. And now we move on to the next term. Negative 6 times 2c squared. So we're going to add negative 6 times 2c squared. Negative 6 times positive 3c. So I'm going to add negative 6 times positive 3c. And then I'm going to add negative 6 times negative 1. That's going to be negative 6 times negative 1. Okay? You don't necessarily have to write plus every time. If you want to do plus negative 6 times negative 1, or you just want to write minus 6 times negative 1, this right here and this right here are going to be the same thing. All right? So again, keep the coefficients separate. All right? If there's no coefficient, it's automatically a 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. C squared times c squared, you just add 2 plus 2, so it's going to be c to the 4th. All right, again, there's a 1 here, so 1 times 3 is just positive 3. And this is c squared. This is c to the 1st power. When there's no exponent, it's to the 1st. 2 plus 1 is 3, so that's c to the 3rd. C squared times negative 1 is negative c squared, plus negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, and we still have c squared. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18, and we still have c. And finally, negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. All right, combining like terms, there's no other c to the 4th, so we have 2c to the 4th. There's no other c to the 3rd, so we have positive 3c to the 3rd. And negative c squared, this is automatically negative 1. Negative 1c squared minus 12c squared is going to be negative 13c squared minus 18c, and then plus 6. So this whole thing is the answer. Okay, so we didn't use FOIL, we just used distribute. We took the c squared and did all 3 terms, and then we took the negative 6 and did all 3 terms. So that's it. All right, so the first term was 2c to the 4th. All right, there's the exponent button right there. Hit the right arrow key. And plus 3c to the 3rd. All right, exponents right there, c to the 3rd. And then minus 13c squared. So right here is c squared. Minus 18c. And then plus 6. So that's it.